Hey game designers, I'm Calvin from Streamline Gaming, and a common question I see new game designers ask is, what software do you use to make trading cards like this? And to me, the answer to that question is NanDeck. So today I'm going to show you how you can take information on an Excel spreadsheet like you see above, and turn that information into trading cards like you see over here. So I'm going to scroll through the 3 different cards we're going to make. And now we're going to jump over to NanDeck and start making these trading cards. So this is NanDeck, and this big white box in the middle is called the script editor, and that is where we'll be entering our code. I already have some code for this tutorial set up, so I'm just going to paste it in. And now I will explain what each of these lines do. I have the card size set to 2.5 inches by 3.5 inches. But in NanDeck, you have to use centimeters, so this is the equivalent of 2.5 inches by 3.5 inches in centimeters. What this LinkMulti does is, I'm going to jump over to our spreadsheet, but whatever spreadsheet you have linked, it's going to take the amount and basically print that many of each of those cards. So NanDeck will make 5 troll cards, 3 magicians, and 1 helper. Back in NanDeck, this link function is how you link your Excel file to NanDeck. It's very simple. You take the file path of your Excel file, add a backslash and the file name, and then .xlsx, which is the Excel file type. And since our file is an Excel file, we will leave it an .xlsx. My Excel file is here on my computer, so I'm going to left click, copy this. I'm going to replace everything except the file type. And then I need to add a backslash and the name of the file, in this case, troll cards. So I'm going to add a backslash and troll cards. So now our Excel file is linked to NanDeck. The zoom directive I'll explain at the end of this tutorial. But for now, one of the biggest things that you need to learn in NanDeck is to validate your deck, which is you left click to validate it. What that does is it checks your code and makes sure there's no errors. In this case, our labels are okay and our deck is valid. And that means everything's good to go. So then you can left click to build your deck. And what that does is basically runs all of your code, and if you had it set up to make the cards, they would appear over here. But we haven't done that step yet. And now we are ready to do the visual editor. So I'm going to left click the visual editor to open it. And this is where we are going to format our cards. The first thing I'm going to do is left click on image. This brings up a large image box. And I'm going to right click to open its parameters. Double left click on image file, and now it gives us an option here. And I'm going to show you real quick what these options are. These are pulling from our spreadsheet. So in our spreadsheet, you can see each of these labels. Everything on the first row is it's pulling from. So in this case, card layout is the one we're going to start with, and it's going to give us 5 of the green templates, 3 of the blue templates, and 1 of the red template. So back in NanDeck, I'm going to insert it, and now we have our green card layout. We're also going to update the image flag. I do 2 things here almost every time, and that is mark it proportional so that the art is in the same proportions that I intended it to, and I also mark it transparent. My file is a PNG file, so I'm actually going to mark it a PNG transparent, but I almost always select one of these, depending on what my file type is. I'm going to left click confirm, and I'm going to check our cards by scrolling through, and again we should have 5 green templates. So that's 5. And then 3 blue templates, 1, 2, 3, and 1 red template. So everything's working as as intended. And again, this is pulling from our spreadsheet here, and these files are on my computer here. So we have the template green, template blue, and template red. And just like the Excel file, you copy and paste the file path, /, the name of the file, dot the file type. In this case, it's a PNG file, so it's .png. I'm going to go back to NanDeck, and this time we're going to add the name on our cards. To do that, we need to add a text directive. So I'm going to left-click text, and that brings up a big white text box. So I'm going to move that text box around, and once I have it formatted, we will enter what text we want here. So with the text directive selected, I'm going to right-click. That brings up the parameters. Here, the text, I'm going to double left-click, and we want the name label. Again, in the spreadsheet, that's going to pull everything from the name column. 5 trolls, 3 magicians, and 1 helper. Back in NanDeck, I want to left center this, and that looks pretty good. Well, I mean, that's how I want it. To make it actually look good, we need to add a font function. So to do that, I'm going to left-click font. And remember, the order of your code is very important in NanDeck. It reads it from top to bottom. So what a font function does is it reads the font function, and then every text directive below that it will make look however you told it to in the font function. Basically, all you need to know is you need to have the font function above the text directive. With the font directive highlighted, I'm going to right-click to open. I'm going to make this bold and 12-point font. That looks good. And now transparent, remember that removes that white background. Confirm. And now let's go through our cards, and we have the 5 trolls, 3 magicians, and 1 helper. So everything's working still. Now that you know that, that's pretty much all we're going to do, except we're going to repeat the process. We're going to add another text directive and an image directive to get our image. One thing I want to show you is this down here. My face was hiding it, but we can select the text directive and duplicate the object. Now, instead of having to start from scratch by selecting text and picking out our options again, we can just right-click and it already has whatever we needed. It didn't really save me much time in this case, but I wanted to show you that it's there because it saves me a lot of time and it's very helpful. So we don't want the name label, we actually want the text box this time. So I'm going to insert that. Make this the size of the text box. And now you can see that our text is going out of the box. So to fix that, we're going to right-click to open and select a word wrap. WW means word wrap, and so that just means if the words would go off the box, you wrap it down to the next line. I almost always select word wrap when using text boxes. And I'm also going to make this centered just because I think it looks better in this case. Left-click confirm. And I'm going to duplicate this font directive as well. I'm going to make this larger again. You know where the duplicate object is. Move the font directive above the text directive. Right-click to open. And don't want this bolded, and I'm going to make this slightly smaller than the name. Confirm. The last step is to get our image here. So again, I'm duplicating the object, right-click to open, double left-click image file, select image, insert. We want it proportional and transparent still, so that's good. Confirm. And that's all we're doing. We have 5 trolls with the trolls text. Deal 2 damage. 3 magicians and 1 helper. So again, 5 trolls that deal 2. The green layout, the troll image, and we want 5 of them. 3 magicians, deal 1, draw 1. Blue template, magician image, 3 of them. And helper, heal 3. Red template, and helper image. And 1 of those. Everything's working just as we had planned. I'm going to left click confirm. And what NanDeck's done is now added all of this code for us. We don't have to do any of the code ourselves because we did it in the visual editor. Left click validate, left click build. Our code is still good, so. And now it's showing us our cards. I want to explain the zoom function now. Zoom, anytime you change around code or something, it's good to validate and build the deck. So since I moved that, I'm going to validate and build the deck just to make sure it's working properly. And the zoom, what it does is when I click card preview, it actually zooms in a little bit. It makes it 92% of the size. So that's the first thing. The second thing is it actually zooms in when you print the cards as well. So right now, if I printed the cards, they wouldn't actually be 2.5 inches wide by 3.5 inches tall. They would be 92% of that, whatever that is. But I like to have the zoom function on when previewing my cards because if it's not on, then it's slightly annoying, and I'll show you what I mean by that. I'm going to make an apostrophe before the line of code, and that comments out the line of code, which basically just means that NanDeck doesn't execute that line of code. So that code is basically not there when the apostrophe is in front of it, as far as NanDeck is concerned. I'm going to validate and build the deck. As you can see, now we have to scroll down to see our entire card, and I find that quite annoying. So that's why I add the zoom. Another reason to add the zoom is when you go to print your deck, I'm going to left click to print. If you have 2.5 inches by 3.5 inches, it's slightly big enough to where it only fits 6 per page. And I like to save a little paper when I print, so I will add a zoom and go zoom. I'll zoom at 98, validate, build, and then now whenever I go to print, it's printing 9 to a page. And it still has the same proportions, it's just slightly smaller. It's 98% of the size of 2.5 by 3.5. That is what the zoom function does. And I showed you how to print the deck. You can also create a PDF or save the images. One of the most common reasons that I use PDF would be to send it to playtesters from around the world. This is actually a really cool function. You know, you have your cards, you make changes, you make it into a PDF, you send the PDF, they print out the PDF, and then can immediately start playing with your cards. Save images is a really good function. The way that NanDeck saves images is in a way that it makes it easy to upload each image to have them printed by a print-on-demand service like the Game Crafter, which is how you would want to make a more professionally looking prototype. Also, saving images is good for uploading to something like Tabletopia or Tabletop Simulator, which is a digital simulator used to test out games. So that is the basics of NanDeck. Well, thanks for watching, everyone. I hope you enjoyed learning how to make basic trading cards today. If you'd like to follow along with this video, you can click the link below and tell us where you want us to send all of these resources, including the card art, the Excel file, and the NanDeck code that you saw in the video earlier. And we'll send you all of that plus instructions on how to set everything up properly. So good luck and have fun making your game. See ya!